Thanks. Been a
Happy New
while.
Year.
Yeah, it's been a minute, eh?
It has been a minute and a half since we recorded.
Mhm. I think it's been, 4 weeks. Good thing we had some in the can.
Maybe longer.
I think it was I wanna say it was December 4th was the last session. That
Really?
yeah, I think that's what it was because I was looking at the editing earlier on. So that was when
So
I
it's been
think
over a
it's
month.
been over a month.
Yeah.
Can't let that happen this year. No way.
Or we do.
Or I'm just saying we quit our jobs and we do this full time.
Become influencers.
Become exactly that. Exactly that.
Listen, if the Paul brothers can do it.
Listen, if the Kelsey brothers can do it, because let me tell you, if you watch their
No, I
podcast, you
haven't
have
actually.
got to watch their podcast. Shout out to those guys because they make podcasting fun.
You
It
know what's been
is.
popping up lately was the one you showed me, the one with Will Arnett, Jason
Oh,
Bateman,
yeah,
Smartless or
yeah,
whatever.
Smartless, my favorite podcast of
They're
all time.
funny.
It is literally my favorite
And
podcast.
they rip on what's his face a lot.
Oh, on
I know.
the
It's
guy
escaping
from
my name. From
Will
Will and
and
Grace.
yeah, which most people don't recognize when they see him because looks so different now. He looks
I feel like
so
he did nothing else since Will and Grace, really.
he did a lot of, if I remember
Was it
correctly,
theater?
Broadway and theater.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he was a Broadway theater junkie.
But they had Macaulay Culkin on the other day.
Oh, how was
It was
that?
good,
Oh,
actually. I'm in
yeah?
the middle of listening to it.
It's, he's, I just think the premise for the show, if it's what they say it is, which you just get blindsided by, who it is, I think it's such a fun way to do something because you can't prepare for that. I mean, you and I purposely don't necessarily prepare for this,
Yeah.
right? We want this to be authentic. They're bringing on like some of the most famous people in the world, some of the most
Yeah,
influential
and I
people in the
only
world.
clued into that they rotate who's bringing a guest,
Yeah.
and the others don't particularly know the guest
They have
until
no idea until they do
they,
the
like, show
introduction.
up on
Yeah.
the thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Because in that episode, I guess man, what is his name from Will and Grace?
I can't remember.
He showed up late. He, like, forgot he had a recording or something, and they were
Giving him the gears.
yeah, they were giving him the gears, and then all of a sudden, Macaulay Culkin's on the call, and he was super, like he was
How
into it.
was it? Was he interesting?
He's an interesting dude.
Yeah. He's a rags to rich a riches no, a rags to riches kinda guy, right? Because he
Yeah,
went through a pretty big
I guess,
downfall.
uh, yeah, I think from what he was saying, like, he didn't he worked, like,
Yeah.
he kind of started working on a whim because his parents were taking his other siblings. He got, like, 7 siblings,
Oh,
or
really?
1 of 7 or
Oh, I didn't
something
know
like
that.
that, and his other siblings were going for auditions, and so his mom was like, "Just take Mac with you," and all of a sudden, he started booking plays pretty quick, and then started booking movies fast, and then
But do you know how much he makes in royalties just off of the Home Alone 1 and 2 series?
no.
2.5 million a year.
So, the other
Think
thing
about that. For
is
not doing anything
well, I heard he didn't touch
40
his
years ago.
money until he was 18.
He wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he didn't know he was loaded.
Yeah.
And I guess he calls it uh, it was like sliding the paper across the table day or something.
Oh, yeah? To
Where,
tell him how much he had when
yeah,
he turned
they
18.
did one of those, and he was like, "Oh,"
Because if he didn't touch it, I mean, I think he was 8 when he did Home Alone, maybe
but he
9.
stopped working when he was 14. He said,
Right, but those 5 years of all that money just compounding and
"Yeah,
compounding
it
and
was like
compounding.
the Home Alones, Richie
Oh, I
Rich,
forgot about Richie Rich.
Uncle Buck." He
Oh, he was
was
in Uncle Buck?
yeah. They listed
Oh.
off a bunch of movies, and I was like, "Oh,
I would never have thought that.
yeah."
But the premise of that show and, like, I listen to a million podcasts. That is my favorite entertainment
They're
podcast.
good. Those 2 there were those
Um,
3.
my family makes fun of me because I do watch the Kelsey boys, but what's her name? Jason Kelsey's wife. Kyrie
Oh,
Kylie
Kylie?
Kylie.
Kylie
I've
Kelsey or something
been
like that?
caught she gets some pretty big names on too because of her
She has
affiliate.
her own?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of entertaining. It's a little less it's a little more dry than the brothers are,
Right.
but I gotta tell you, I'm not a Kelsey fan in any way, shape, or form in football. Like, I
Yeah.
can't stand either one of them when they
Mhm.
played football.
But as
But as
entertainers,
entertainers,
yeah.
they are fantastic together because it's really family oriented. Like, Taylor shows up every once in a while. Jason brings his kids on, so and the wife gets on, Kylie gets on every once in a while, so it is kind of this little family.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I do enjoy that one, and I only catch snippets of it. I
Uh-huh.
don't sit and listen to it. I really should go back to when they started it and do it because they do it similar to what we do. It's just the two of them, um, but they do it from their basements, so
Yeah.
they truly
Remote,
remote in.
like, call
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different, but I'll tell you, there's some good podcasts out there.
I would say that's one of our goals this year is to do a remote one, like we've been talking about.
Oh, listen, I think we should be doing more of these remote. The problem is, I'm still coming here because ultimately, um, I don't have anywhere at my house that's private. I don't have
Yeah, but I
anywhere.
mean, if you're at one of the other offices.
Yeah, I mean, I can do it from anywhere, I suppose. Um, in the east, it's easier because the west technology needs to be updated.
Fair.
So, okay, so we're gonna try this year. We're gonna try some new things.
Yeah.
We're gonna try some pausing a little bit. We have had some technical difficulties. We're also gonna update our technology.
Yeah, I think at some
I
point,
think we're gonna have to make it sound a little bit better.
and
Hopefully, get
ideally,
rid.
we're maybe start marketing this a little bit better.
Yeah, Jordan has. So just so you know, over the holidays, if you got an Instagram request from me, anybody,
Yeah.
that's because my daughter separated my work and my personal Instagram. She has taken over. Jordan has taken over my Instagram for me.
Okay.
The management of it. She keeps telling me to post and stuff like that. I said, no, that's what you do it. Um, so if you get a request from me, that's what it's for. But she has set one up just for the podcast as well. So the podcast has an Instagram page now, if I remember correctly. I don't know. She gave
I
me a
think
whole
we had
list.
one already.
Did we?
Mhm.
Was it Instagram or was it
Mhm.
something else? I know that she's working on getting this stuff done so that we can start
I'm pretty
to
sure we have one.
advertise. Okay, could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
If well, what we should do is hand her the management side of it, like, just because I think I can hand it over to her,
Oh
like, as
yeah.
a manager or something.
Sure.
I think there's a I need her number.
Sure. I also think that what we also need to do, and I think might be easier for Spotify because Spotify doesn't post the video, do they? It's just audio.
I think they do video
Oh,
too.
do they
I
do
think so.
video? Oh,
I
okay.
think we have the whole kit and caboodle on there.
Okay. See, at
I only
least.
listen to Spotify audio though.
Right. So we've got audio accounts. We've got audio tracks for all these when they're completed, just the audio. So we can actually just download the audio as well. So again, we haven't been to Apple Music. That's the next.
Oh. So yeah, we have a few things we wanna
Yeah.
do for this.
Yeah. We're gonna try to get a little bit more refined with our um, format
Yeah, format,
per some feedback that we've received.
but also, um, some of the feedback that we had heard from a few people was to maybe start leaning more into our industries, which
Yes,
we were very actively avoiding, almost
to a problem.
yeah, almost to a detriment. I know when
Yeah,
we started this, we kinda had an idea of like, "Hey, want it to look like this." Maybe we don't bury everybody with just real estate and mortgage stuff and blah, 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 and then we always had enough topics that we would just kind of forget that.
sometimes we just talk.
Yeah, but we would forget that people kinda wanna hear about the stuff that we do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we hope we do. We hope we do.
Yeah,
I mean, we've got to again advertising and all that stuff will get the followers up. But I think I think we've got some good goals for this year. Maybe a new studio somewhere in the building. We'll see.
really?
Well, if we move upstairs and put some of that up there, who knows? We'll see. We'll figure it out as we go. We're still only 20 episodes in.
Mhm.
It's 20. This is number 21. So let's get at it. Today's subject matter is the top questions that you should be asking your mortgage broker or your real estate broker when you're interviewing them. And as a caveat, you should be interviewing people for this.
Yeah.
If you don't know one personally and have a personal relationship and that kind of thing with somebody, but you should be interviewing. And we're going to just go through a few of our top questions that you should be asking, kind of, the ideas of why that's important and some backup
So,
conversation to it.
I'm sure you already get questions, though, that are common that are the wrong questions.
Oh yeah. How many houses did you sell?
Oh.
At the end of the day, that's such a broad question that it doesn't serve any meaning.
You actually get people to ask you that.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I tell people to try and avoid the question because it doesn't really help anything. It doesn't really guide you in a decision-making process because it's just a generic number. Like, if I'm interviewing with you and the house is worth $1 million, but I sold 40 houses that are $400,000, how are you gonna help me,
Interesting.
right? So, the question would be, how many luxury homes have you sold?
Yeah, if that's your market.
At the market that you're in, right? So it's one of those things where, a lot of the times the questions are specific to um the property, to the people, to the relationship, but I have four that I think everybody should know the answer to when or ask when they're interviewing a realtor.
Yeah, 4 questions that you think
Or
that are gonna
questions that
give you a good foundation to say, "Hey, I
yeah,
got this info, I can make a decision between
yeah, because
person ABC."
I think so many people get caught up in numbers in the interview process
Yeah.
and avoid the processes.
Well, I think they get caught up in numbers because that's what's advertised to them.
Hmm.
I'm the
Top realtor in Niagara for this, or sold for
Yes.
1.04% or
Mhm.
104% of list price, that kind of stuff. It doesn't help,
Okay, so what's
right?
your and
Uh,
I think these are in no particular order, or are they in a particular
no,
order?
they're in no particular order for me.
Okay. So what's your first one?
What's your marketing strategy, and what do you do differently?
That's a good one. That's
Because
a very good
when you
one.
think about it from a real estate standpoint, everybody for a residential house, and we'll talk residential because the rules are kind of different for commercial and vacant land and
Yeah,
developments.
and then not mo most people at
Most
that
people,
point have somebody they trust once you
yeah,
kinda move into that.
right. So, um, the marketing strategy so many times is I do this, 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 and this, and then the question becomes is, well, doesn't the next guy I'm about to interview do that, that, and that?
Mhm.
So what's different? Yeah, okay, maybe he takes his pictures with his phone, and you bring in a professional
Pro.
photographer. That's
An extra step.
an extra step, but
Mhm.
it's also, you know, it's important, but it's not in the grand scheme of the entirety of the marketing plan. So if you said to me, you know what, um, I um, I will do updates on the property every single week,
Mhm.
social media through this, through this, through this, through this,
I'm gonna have
and I'll
X amount of open houses.
right, like so. Some agents are adverse to doing those things, but it comes down to those.
You say like, they don't wanna do open houses?
Yeah, I don't do open houses.
Right, but you would get somebody on your team potentially to do an
Oh,
open house.
100%. But personally, me, and I tell my clients up front, listen, you don't want me doing an open house.
Yeah.
People get to the door, this big burly guy,
No, it makes
not
sense.
very welcoming at the front door,
Yeah.
which is fine. Like, but you have to, as a realtor, have that next layer of what it is. And that could be as simple as I have a database. I've been in the business 20 years. I have a database of 2,500 buyers that I deal with who are connected to people. And we do a lot of direct research or direct marketing that way. It can be that simple.
Yeah.
It can be really, really, complicated, and you can have metrics and AI and all of those things. But the question is,
Do you have a plan?
do you
Is
have a
is really what the root of the question is.
right? Do you have a marketing strategy, and what do you do differently? So that would be my first one.
That's a good jump off point.
Yeah.
What's your second one?
Um, like a follow up to the marketing strategy. What's your communication strategy?
Communication with the client
So
or
there's two prongs to a communication strategy: the conversation between client and realtor,
okay.
which I think is probably the one that gets ignored the most. What we do, we say we're going to do things, and then you come Monday morning when you're supposed to do the report, and you got pulled into a meeting or whatever the case may be. And, oh, I'll catch them up next week. Have a true communication plan set out. It says, in mine it says I'm going to do weeks 1, 2, 3. We're going to provide an update after week 3, and then we reassess every 3 weeks. Blah blah blah. Whatever
Yeah.
whatever strategy works for you. But then the other thing is part of that communication strategy is what are you going to do and say when you get that phone call on the property? What are you selling? How are you selling it? So one of the
Okay.
things in real estate is selling with stories, right? I'm a huge proponent of humanize the
Yeah, make
process.
them feel like they can live here, like,
Right.
paint the picture with the
You're
words.
not selling the house, you're selling the lifestyle, the community, everything else. What are you going to say to that group of people when they call in and talk about
Well,
You
the
know,
other
tell me about this house because one of the biggest questions on realtor.ca is, I'd like more information. Well, if you don't have that more information prepared and you're typing it out every single time you
Mhm.
get that request, it's not a strategy. It's what's in your mind at the top of that
Yeah, I
day.
think the other thing I've heard you talk about often is, and I think this would kind of piggyback off of that, is what can you as the realtor do to get the buyer side to make at least an initial offer? Like,
Yes.
give me a jump off point.
Yeah, then that comes to communication with other realtors, right? So when you do something with a property, price reduction, you update the pictures, you update the terms, whatever the case may be. Do you reach out to other agents? Do you say, "Hey, I'm going to we've just reduced this property. We don't want to advertise it on a realtor.ca, but I know that it's gone to 4 of your clients or you've called me about this. I'm just reaching out to let you know,
Little gentle
a little
reminder.
gentle reminder that this property is still available."
That's a
So
good idea.
I like that one as well. My number 3 is, what's the ratio of number of sales to listings?
What's the ratio of number of sales to listings? Okay.
So, when as a listing agent, you may take 100 listings.
Now, are you saying what's the listing personally for you as the person you're interviewing, or you mean what's it look like across the city or this
No, no,
region?
so I mean, so when you're if you're interviewing me, how many houses have I listed
Mhm.
in the
And how many
last
have actually
24,
sold?
and how many have actually
Got you.
sold? Because you can take all the listings in the world, if
That's a
they
good one.
just sit in the market, it's doing you
Overprice them and you just have all these listings. Yep.
you got it, and it's absolutely no good at that point. So, I heard a stat of a pretty significant team recently that only sells 23% of their listings, and this is one of the top teams in the country, but they only sell 23% of the listings. That's not a great ratio. So that says to me that either, well, I mean, and again, 2020, late 2024 and 2025 was challenging with, we were listing inventory surplus, right? So it's not really necessarily the greatest number all the time, but I
Well,
think, and depending on the market conditions that you're in, like if you're in a buyer's market and you're a listing agent, you want to know
yeah, but
that
even
number.
if you're saying like 24, 25, your numbers might be a little lower, your ratio might be lower, but everybody's in the same boat.
100%.
I
Yeah.
heard something recently that was like, it's raining for all of us,
Yep.
right? Like we were all dealing with a
Yeah, and that's a
crappy
great
day.
analogy to put out there when it comes to that stuff, because one of the things that I've noticed is that there's a lot of doom and gloom out there
Mm,
right now in the market. There's a lot of people that are really apprehensive about everything in real estate right now. There's no confidence in the consumer in real estate right now, and I mean, even just talking to my own clients, they're willing to ride it out. They're
the
like
ones who are listing.
the ones who are listed, and I just did a relist on one of my properties, brought the price down, and the lady said to me, "I can wait this out till spring. Like, I'm good as long as you're good with it." She said, "I need to get, a certain amount of money." And I said, "Okay, listen, I'm not gonna force you. There are challenges to, not, being aggressive with your price. But at the same time, it's your house." And I'm a big believer of, it's your house.
Yeah.
I can
I'm not
only
here to force you to sell.
I'm only here to recommend, and if I do my job
I
correctly.
advise you instruct.
Exactly. And I just think that, like, there's so much going on in the world around us that people are just so gun shy right now that it's hard. But if you've got a realtor, and back to the question is, like, if you've got a realtor that's constantly 23% or
Yeah.
constantly 24%, then that says to me that they're more interested in getting the listing than selling the listing, or
Yeah,
the
having
o
listings is almost a vanity metric, and how much time, if they're taking all these listings, how much time is actually being devoted to you
right.
specifically?
And that's so therein lies another thing with these, with monster teams. You may carry 200 listings on your team. That's a pretty big team. How many hours a week are you getting from the person who you hired?
Yeah.
Because they're doing so much else, right? So I just think that, we get caught in the bragvertising
Mhm.
aspect of our business a lot as realtors, and I wish we could dial that that rhetoric back a little bit. It's, like, it doesn't help the client, it only helps us. I don't necessarily think that us bragging about how, certain things are done in our business, it's like the old expression, "You never wanna know how laws and sausage are made." Right? You just don't wanna know those 2 things because if you knew the answer, it would be, something that you wake up and go, "Oh, I wish I never knew that answer." Sometimes that's the case in real estate. Sometimes there's a lot of things that go on in the background that you never see as a consumer, but when you ask 3 questions like that, then you kinda start to get an idea of, is this person really working for me? Are they working consistently? Do they have a plan, or are they just throwing stuff at the wall and
Yeah.
hoping it
Yeah.
sticks? So I'll do my last one, and then we'll take a few minute break. My last one is, what's your average days on market? And I think that goes to proper
Again, for your listings
for
as
your
the realtor.
listings. I mean, I can tell you that the number is kind of deceiving across our board right now because of our program and stats and stuff like that.
I guess it also depends on what you as a realtor have in terms of price ranges. If you have something that's 1.2, and again,
Again,
is that skewing your numbers a little high? And
yeah, and I think that part of our job as realtors is to know our numbers, right? When I walk into a room, I know that, sometimes my listings take a little bit longer to sell, but they also sell for closer to list. Or I have a lot of challenging situational clients, right, who call me because um, they just they're just kind of disillusioned with the process.
hmm,
Or their personal
they thought it would be
situations are
smoother.
challenged. Yes, exactly. So that's where I deal with a lot of stuff, and in a lot of cases, I don't have to answer these questions because so much of my business is repeat referral that you kind of get away from some of this. So, it's a little bit, that's a little bit misleading, but I do think
But
that
to
there's
be fair, even somebody who comes on a referral, they say, "Hey, you got to talk to Steve. He was great. We used him." It still doesn't hurt to come in and say, "Steve,
Yep.
what is your stuff?"
I have a meeting on Saturday with a potential client, that was a personal referral. I still have to go in and prove myself.
Yeah.
I did one last week, and like, it's all how you in our business anyway. It's all how you present yourself with the information. Are you there to just spew information, or are you there to make the person comfortable across from you?
Yeah, you kind of regurgitating a script to say, "Here are, again, my vanity metrics.
Yep.
Here's what I think you want to hear that's going to make you pick me." Or are you actually listening to hear, like, "Listen, I'm just a person. Like, how are you going to help me?"
Yeah. So, all of these are great, but you still have to be comfortable with the person across the table from you.
Agreed.
Right. And I think that sometimes doesn't there's no metric to do that. So let's take a couple minute break and then we'll be right back.
All right.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Are you ready now? You're lifting off the ground. Welcome back. No coming down. Can you feel it
Welcome
all?
back.
All right.
All right. So we covered my favorite 4 questions when
Yeah, I think they were
when
pretty good.
asking.
It gives you
Thanks.
a good foundation for what you need to know when you're trying to figure out who to pick.
Yeah, who'd hire?
Okay, so
So what do you got? Let's start with your favorite.
my favorite. So this is one that I bring up
Okay.
because clients don't ask it.
Oh,
And I think it's important to get it out in the open. And I've had it in the past where people have sort of wanted to ask it, and then when I bring
beating
it
around
up,
the bush.
they beat around the bush. Yeah, it's a good way to say it. And then when I bring it up, they go, "Okay, perfect. I was gonna ask you that, but you know they weren't
Yeah.
going to."
No.
How are you paid?
Oh, yes.
And I think it's always a good thing to get
Out of the way.
out of the way, for a number of reasons.
Aren't you guys fiduciaries? Are you guys fiduciaries?
What do you mean?
So do you have fiduciary legal responsibilities under FISRA?
I think we have to disclose.
Yeah, but like, if you have fiduciary responsibilities, one of the fiduciary responsibilities is the responsibility of accounting. So it's not like it's something that you can avoid. You guys are actually, I believe you guys are fiduciaries.
I think we are,
I
yeah.
think you're legally obligated
And I
to
think
explain it.
but I think it's important because there are times when client pays us nothing, and there are times when client pays us something. It
100%.
comes out of their pocket.
Yep, or split.
Or split, yeah,
Yep,
50-50 or however
or
it's
however you bill it out.
exactly. But
So how do you explain that to a consumer?
yeah.
If I come to you and say, "Greg, I wanna hire you.
Mhm,
If I go to the CIBC today,
mhm,
big bank A, whichever bank you choose,
mhm,
I'm not paying them.
mhm,
You don't work for the big bank.
mhm.
You work for a brokerage. How do you get paid? Tell me that, Greg."
So I say, "Do you know how I get paid?" And they'll often go, "No, I kinda was gonna ask you that." And I go, "So," and in your instance, we'll say you're somebody who isn't gonna pay me
Yeah,
because of your
sure.
situation. And I explain to them that it's the lender who pays me. It's essentially a finder's fee that they pay to say, "Hey, thank you for finding us somebody to make money on."
Yep,
So we're sort of these matchmakers, and this doesn't get tacked onto your mortgage anywhere. It's not like it's a hidden fee that's been slipped in somewhere that you're paying over 30 years. It's strictly paid by the lender. But the reason it's important is, and if somebody's kind of sitting there and saying, I've talked to my bank and like I know they're not getting paid by
yep,
or whatever, I always tell them it's in my best interest to make this work.
yeah.
And
I don't get paid unless you close.
yeah, and it's also in my best interest to figure out very fast if this can work.
Yeah,
Because or like how can we get you to where you need to be?
yep,
And it's the same thing if we're doing like a refi. Like if somebody was in midterm and they're like, "Well, why should I do this?" It's like, "Well, you can save this amount, whatever, call it 5
yep,
grand over,"
sure.
and they go, "Wow, why would you do that?" Because I can get paid again too.
Yeah,
It's in my best interest to
yep,
save you money because if I can make money on it.
yeah. Well, that's how you make money,
That's
right?
how I make money on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I say can because if you're staying with the same lender.
Yeah, yeah,
So, anyways, that's one of the questions that I think is always really good to get on the table. Um, because it one just transparency.
mm,
Um, and not a lot of people know how we get paid.
no,
And some people, like I said, have thought that it got tacked onto their mortgage, maybe kind of hidden in there somewhere.
like the land transfer tax.
So the other thing is why this term length?
Oh, okay.
That's what people should be asking
Yep,
their banker or broker.
okay.
And it's again something that I ask people when they say, "Oh, I when I talked to my bank, this is what they had kind of offered me." Because the way the conversation goes is somebody comes to us, and if they've talked to their bank, they go, "Well, what's your best rate?"
Yeah,
And I go, "I guess this should fall under things not to ask." Um, but no, I don't fault people for it because the goal of the question is it's okay. Like the goal of the question makes sense, but the way they're asking it doesn't always make sense. When what I mean by that is they're asking what's your best rate. They're often trying to say, how can I pay the least amount of money?
yeah.
That's what they're trying to say.
It's
But
about interpretation of the question at that
yeah,
point, right?
but
So,
they're also making the assumption that lowest rate's going to equal lowest payment.
well, they also usually go under the assumption that longer the term, the lower the rate. Like a lot of consumers believe that the 5-year rate will always be the best rate.
Yeah, it often is.
It often is, but that usually is where it caps out. I've got friends that took a 10-year mortgage.
I've never seen anybody take one.
Yeah, twice. They did their whole mortgage once, only had to renew once, and they
Interesting.
had a decent rate at the time.
That's
So
not bad.
now they're going through their first renewal, and they want to lock in for another 10 years because they know in 7 they'll be done.
That's not bad. But term length, that's always the important one because it kind of underpins like what's the plan here?
Yeah.
Why? Like if somebody just moved to this city, took their first kind of starting job or whatever, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna move back to Kingston."
What's the exit strategy?
Well, yeah, like why? Well, why did you take a 5 year if you knew you were gonna look for a job in the next 2 3 years back home?
Yeah.
Um, so that's the other big one. It's always why? Why this? Why that? Why did you pick
Yeah.
variable over fixed? Or um, the other one is what does your process look like?
Oh. This is where I think, listen, and I just had a guy, I just had a guy who hadn't taken out a mortgage in 20 plus years.
Okay.
Okay. Not my client, but one of our agent's clients. And he put him with his mortgage broker. And his mortgage broker did not explain the process, did not explain anything about it. And you know what it's like. Lenders want everything under the sun. They want your firstborn child. They
And
want
more.
the baby in the bathwater,
Yeah.
everything and more.
And 20
So
years ago, this was probably just a handshake deal at the bank.
my first mortgage, I didn't even look at the paperwork. My bank sat me down, said, sign here, sign here, sign here. I had no idea what I was signing.
Yeah.
You know, today you should know. You should know the whole beginning to end of it. And
Timeline, what are we going to be requesting? How does
yeah,
it look like? What does each stage look like?
so this guy got so mad with all of the questions and all the papers that that lender and the mortgage broker were requiring, he canceled the deal and he went to a local institution. He went to his bank,
Okay.
only to find out that his bank
One of the same stuff.
was worse,
Oh,
asked for more paperwork. He ended up taking money out of his finances to pay cash because he refused, and I mean refused, to give the paperwork. He was so mad that he had to justify the fact,
hmm
that
the need for the money.
the need for the paperwork, um, that he was just ready to to
He
to
goes,
s
I'll just pay
to
cash.
to screw himself,
My
really, at the end of the day,
goodness.
because realistically,
Cost of
his
liquidating everything else. And
penalties for taking, um, investments out,
yeah,
right? And going against your personal income and all of those, I don't
tax
tax
implications.
implications and
Yes.
everything for some paperwork. So I think that's probably that's my favorite one because I think that conversation is not had enough.
Well, the other side of it is there are so many different things that I or us in this industry take for granted. Um, Meaning, like, I explained to somebody the difference between when we've got your application in, what does that mean? And I was like, this is different than when your file goes live. Meaning you've got an accepted offer.
Yeah,
That's when we rubber hits the road, right?
yeah,
That's when we're actually submitting to a lender. That's when we're getting this moving.
yeah,
Up until then, we've reviewed this. It all looks pretty good. This should pass muster.
yeah,
But when you have the accepted offer, that's when we're actually working on something
yeah.
like proper substantial.
And again, like you'll get some consumers that just don't care. Right?
Yep.
They'll say to you, "Just get me there."
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing when you're going like, when we're doing our listing documents and you're trying to go through 5 pages of legalese with these people, and they're like, "I trust you, I don't care."
Anything I have to know in here? And you go,
Yeah.
all of it?
Yeah, I have to explain this to you. Like, there's a reason we're sitting here. We've dedicated an hour to do this, and I would argue that most of the time that's not enough, but, like, the consumer doesn't care. Listen, in my world, I live with a motto, as a broker record, "It's not a problem until it's a problem." The consumer doesn't care until it affects them,
Yeah.
is really what it
I
comes
think
down.
that's applicable to a lot of things in life.
100%, one especially as consumers, but the consumer genuinely in the real estate process, until something blows up in their face, they trust the people, and they should be trusting the people. That goes to whether or not their decision-making process is
Was good on
sound,
the front end.
was good on the front end, and asking the questions that you and I have been talking about.
Yeah. And to jump off this one, like, what does your process look like? I think also letting, again, speaking from my point of view, letting everybody involved, realtor, clients, like buyers, whatever it is, letting them know about realistic timeline expectations
Yeah,
because those change with lenders like week to week, day to day.
yeah,
And because one lender this week had a 2-3 day turnaround time, that might turn into 7 days.
yeah,
And it's like sometimes dictated because they put out a really good rate special,
yeah,
right? And so that's the rub, right?
100%.
Oh, client, we were able to get you this rate that's slightly lower. It's got everything we were looking for in the mortgage. It's got a blah, blah, blah. HELOC, this, that, the other. Here's the rub.
you're gonna have to.
Their turnaround time all of a sudden jumped. So we're in our condition of finance window. We might not hear until day 7.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but that goes
um,
to communication,
I think it does
right?
100%. And even uh, I go as far as to say, like, hey guys, no news today.
Yeah,
I've checked in, no updates in the portal, no updates from the emails, blah, 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 whatever it
that's a
is.
great idea, actually.
Yeah. And it alleviates a lot of people's kind of, because it's sitting in the back of their mind, right? They're
Oh
sitting
my,
there,
they were
they're
sitting
going,
worried, going, why haven't I
right.
heard anything? My credit's great or whatever, and they think it's them.
And they start spiraling.
Yeah,
And it's everybody's
100%.
first kind of knee jerk
Yeah,
reaction thing. You go, like you said, oh my gosh, is it me?
yeah,
And so I found that kind of saying, hey guys, um, here's what the plan is today. We haven't heard from them, or even letting people know on the front end. Um, Here's plan A, plan B, C.
yeah,
We got a little something D if we need it, but
if you need it, yeah.
if you need it, but there's always a way. Like there was something I was talking to you about at the end of the year
Yep,
that we kind of had an issue with that was going on. And that was somebody who I had explained to her on the front end. I go, you are going to get a mortgage.
yeah,
Somebody is giving you money based on your entire profile. I go, I
yeah.
can guarantee that.
It's just what the product
And
is.
exactly. And I said, if for some reason you don't fit in, if we can't get this done with option A, like
Yep,
plan A, I go, we have plan B.
B, C, D.
And she had a plan B. I had a plan C. And then we had plan D. We were actually we almost did plan D.
Yep, I
And
remember.
then ended up plan A kind of
Yeah,
came through at the end.
caved, I think is the word.
um, but I think, yeah, what does this process look like? And the whole, what does your communication look like?
Yep,
I think that's a very important one. Um, and then I think when it comes to kind of mortgage selection, this one we kind of touched on, but it's, does it align with my goals?
yeah, okay.
Um,
Try to predict where you are 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now.
yeah, but also, is it going to ruin my lifestyle if we take out this a mortgage this big?
Yeah, yeah,
If you're kind of running your numbers on the front end and somebody says you can afford a $700,000 mortgage,
no.
might not be the lifestyle you want to be, um, maybe strapped at the end of the month.
Well, that's it. One of the, live by the mantra of you don't want to be house poor,
Yeah.
right? Um, again, that that might be okay for some people because it might be the end all be all to them. If you got somebody that, for example, is my age,
Hmm.
right, and kids are growing up,
Hmm.
kids are almost out, like that stage in life where I would sacrifice a lot right now to get the house of my dreams.
Right.
I would have no problem if you said to me, Steve, take out an $800,000 mortgage
Hmm.
and go and build what you want. I would
Yeah.
do that in a heartbeat because I know that I'm going to stay there if I do something like
Hmm.
that. But I also know that I'm going to use a product that is going to be beneficial to me, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not
So
going to
somebody in
be,
your scenario situation, it also takes on a second kind of spin of being like, hey, if we can stomach these extra payments, this is
yeah,
a bit of an investment for the kids down the road
yeah.
and everything.
I'm also never, ever in my life taking on another mortgage,
You
right?
say
Like
that now, but
I'm a I'll be a HELOC no matter
right,
what,
but it's
right? Like it's still a
still,
mortgage, but I will never pin myself into a fixed price property or fixed price product again. At the stage I am in my life, I need flexibility, right? I need to be able to, pay $100,000 off and use that $100,000 again,
yeah,
right?
and that's literally goes back to the one question is why this term? Like that's it really should be why this strategy?
Yeah.
Why are we picking a
Yep.
5-year fix? Why aren't we picking a
It goes back to where, as opposed to where mine says marketing strategy, what's your placement strategy,
yeah,
right? Because really, that's what you're talking about. You're talking about where am I putting you for how long
yeah.
for what's the rate, what are the
And right
benefits?
now, I think this is very important because somebody right before the holidays, she was up for renewal mid-December, but her house is listed.
Yeah,
Has to be relisted. Anyways, her bank was saying you should pick the 3-year.
that doesn't make any sense.
Right. It makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
And so when we started talking, I said, "This is what you should be doing for these and these reasons." And she
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, okay. This makes more sense."
But that goes to like, okay, the placement strategy, but also the service strategy. You're not pinned in at the brokerage level to 5 products,
No.
right? Not only are you not pinned into 5 products, you're not pinned into 1 lender,
Yeah.
right? Like you can go and, like, and when when mortgage agents say they're going to shop it, they're not really shopping it. It's really a poor marketing term that
Agreed, because I remember having somebody, we secured a great mortgage for them, and she goes, "Should we go back to the first lender we looked at and see if they'll match it, or see if anybody else is going to match this?"
yeah, why?
And I was like, "Oh, that's not how that works."
Yeah, but because people think the word shopping and you're gonna go and,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this file and I'm gonna drop it in front of 20 people. No, my
It's
knowledge
almost
is
like an auction or a bid.
yeah, like, my knowledge is what's gonna put you that's the
Yeah.
shopping. The shopping happens up here
Yeah,
where
we should almost phase that out.
right, yeah. So, it's funny, I've never liked that term. I don't think you're shopping anything. I think you're placing,
Yeah.
with the most appropriate product
Yeah.
that's out there. So, I mean
Appropriate or only.
or only and in some cases, only is okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like you've got somebody who's going through a divorce who, needs a B mortgage,
Whatever.
whatever the scenario is, that's their only option.
Mhm.
As long as on the back end we know where they're going, and I know you come to me and say, Steve, you know what? It's going to be 2 years of pain, but you're going to get in the
Yeah.
market right now. You're not going to lose the equity because you're going to take all that money, you're going to put it back in, so you're going to have instant equity in the house. 2 years from now, we'll get you from B to A again.
And sometimes there are personal reasons that are dictating somebody's decision like that. I had somebody
Absolutely.
in mid last year who I said, "Listen, maybe you should wait." Their position was, "Listen, for these and these reasons, let's do this."
You know,
And I said, "Okay."
but they go in with knowledge.
Exactly.
Right, it goes back to your communication and strategy and everything else goes with it. So those are great questions. You got any more?
No.
Okay, good. So we've got those 2. All right, so we've hit the list. We got about 15 minutes left on this. We'll come back and we'll finish up the conversation for the
All
day.
right.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Are you ready now? You're lifting off the ground. Welcome back. No coming down. Can you feel it?
We're back.
Yes, we are.
All right. So we covered the questions to ask your realtor, ask your broker, banker. Covered a few questions maybe to avoid.
Yep.
What's your best rate? Maybe phrase it differently.
Yep. Yep.
So for the last segment here, I'm gonna spring something on you.
God, I hate when you do this.
That's my favorite.
I know. I know. You like watching me squirm.
And it doesn't have to be for the entire year.
Okay.
Um, where do you think the market is heading
Well, I
this
knew you were
year?
gonna do this.
It can be for the next few months or whatnot.
Well,
'Cause I think a lot of people are going to be curious. That's what they want to know.
and listen, there's no crystal ball here on this.
No, this
There
is strictly opinion based,
there's so many
giving you
mixed
zero
yeah,
data.
thanks. There's so many mixed messages coming out all over the place. I read an article the other day. One of the big 5 banks says it's going to get worse this year before it gets better next year. I saw one of the big Canadian brokerages come out and say rough first quarter, start to turn around in Q2. I personally, from what I'm seeing already for 2026, think that we are in for a challenge for the next 3 months. I really do believe that
So when
January.
you say challenge, you're saying for those looking to sell.
I'm okay. So I'm looking at it. I don't look at it like that way. So uh, I look at it when I see coming into the business. Okay, coming into our business, and I know that we're on par with you know a lot of other brokerages out there. It's just the scale, right? Um, as if I was a consumer right now, and I was out there, wondering what to do, this is the time, and I can't stress this enough to people. Rates are low, prices are low.
Mhm.
The amount of uncertainty that is going on in the political landscape, both in Canada and the US. Canada is getting a little bit too much vitriol in our communication for me. All of that creates consumer uncertainty. Consumer uncertainty leads to um, no decision making or poor decision making. So when you start to think about the fact that, housing sales slumped last year, yeah, housing sales slumped. Why did they slump? And when you start to peel back the layers on it, um, it really. I met with the mayor of Port Colborne yesterday morning, Bill Steele and his team, and we talked about housing. And I said to him, I said, there is way too much government involvement in housing and financing right now, trying to fix a problem that they allowed to become a
To
problem.
happen, yeah.
So what happens is government puts in policies in place. Government is very short-sighted a lot of time in their decision making because they've got to please the electorate that's in front of them at the time. How am I going to get reelected? If I do this, is it going to affect my electability? As opposed to saying,
Does
I
this
don't,
actually make sense for everybody as a whole?
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care about whether or not I get elected. I've got to do what's right. That doesn't happen enough in politics in today's world. And I mean, you just got to look south of the border to know that's going on right now. And in Canada, we have, for the most part, it's been contained to the elections. There's a lot of people that that hate our prime minister, and whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, all that does is feed uncertainty, and uncertainty really takes the consumer and says, "I'm scared. I don't want to do anything right now." And you're like, okay, but here is why you should do something right now. And I think the consumer struggles with that. I think the consumer, you know, doom and gloom sells. When it comes to the news, when it comes to the media, doom and gloom sells. There's a reason that you see stuff that matches you from the algorithms. When you get caught watching a long video on political unrest, all of a sudden your
You
entire
see more of
feed
them,
is
yeah.
political unrest.
Because you want more of that, don't you?
We want to take more of it in. So all of those things go to the consumer. The consumer feeds off of it. They say, you know, Justin Trudeau, Mark Carney, Donald Trump, whoever it is screwing up the world. I'm good where
It's
I
only gonna get worse is what the kinda narrative
Yeah,
sounds like.
I'm good where I am. And what happens when people say I'm good where I am? Market inventory just sits and gets stale.
What do you think it's gonna take to get people to gain their confidence back?
You know,
$1,000,000 question.
it really is. Um, honestly, I think time um is probably not on our side in this. I think that there's so much disruption in the world right now that whatever it is, and I don't know what the answer. I mean, I have ideas.
Yeah.
Um, there's no
Yep.
one size fits all problem
I
solving.
think
I think a little less government interference, a little bit more, let the people who are lending lend with their criteria. I think that the stress test has become a colossal waste of time for the consumer. Rates are 4.25, whatever they are, for a mortgage right now. That's the same rate I was paying 20 years ago. So we're where we were 20 years ago.
yeah.
So why are we worrying about interest rates? We're not. We're worrying about interest rates because the media has made interest rate the only thing that matters when it comes to buying a
Well,
house.
it's been the topic of discussion for 5, 6, 5.5 years
Since the rates started to spike 3 years ago.
since I started to drop.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the dropping was. I mean, if you
But
go
that was when they started being the topic of conversation.
realistically, it goes back to 2008. That's how long the conversation of rates has really been prominent, because in 2008 there was free money,
Yeah.
right? You didn't have to have a down payment.
Yeah, 0% down, 40-year
0%
AM.
down, 40-year AM. You could buy houses for next to nothing at the time. So I think that there's 3 or 4 things that have got to happen. One, builders have got to get off their asses and start building houses again. The mayor of Port Colborne, and I was so happy to talk to his team because his team has so much information. Port Colborne has so many houses that are approved and ready to go that builders won't build. They have 19 they
Really?
have 1,900 homes right now
Ready to go?
ready that are permit approved.
Entire neighborhoods,
Entire
entire
neighborhoods.
subdivisions.
Yeah, that the builder won't build. One of the major builders in this region has said, "We're not building a house this year." In fact, I think it's one of the top 3 biggest builders in the region. We're not building a house this year. Wow. Why? Because the consumer is scared, 1, but the government has taken one of the biggest pools of people out of the market, and that's foreign buyers. The foreign buyers ban has done what it needed to do. It slowed the economy and the market down. It brought prices down. It was one of the contributing factors. The rates going up did the same thing, but the rates are down. We have got to reassess the foreign buyers ban. And I'm not saying open it up and say, you know what, uh, Tom, Dick, and Harry can come here from whatever country and buy
Mhm.
6 houses, but allow them to buy a house
Yeah,
to live in. And if they need to buy a generational house, let them buy a
sure.
generational house so that they can bring family with them.
I think it's
And
becoming more and more common.
oh, 100%. You're starting to see generational. I think Pinewood is the local builder that's I could be wrong on that, but I think Pinewood is building generational homes
I
there.
think it's a good idea. I think it's really cool anyways.
It's a great density solution. So one, we got the stress test has got to be revisited in some way, shape, or form. If you want to do a stress test, do a stress test on first time home buyers. I don't need to be told how to manage my business, my money. I really don't. I don't need the government telling me, "Oh, Steve, you can't handle that payment." Bite me. In fact, blow me, for lack of a better term. Like the government overreach there, and again, I'm not saying deregulate. I'm
Mhm.
just saying look at it,
Revisit.
revisit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stop saying that we're going to do
It's
broad.
also it's interesting because a lot of times it's looked at as a binary thing. We have the stress test or we don't. Whereas what you're saying is maybe we stress test you for the first time, and if you get an additional mortgage within your first 5 years, maybe
Yeah,
you stress test it again.
agreed. But stop doing it on the first. The first time home buyers are the ones getting screwed royally with all of these policies because at the end of the day, it's what's slowing everybody else down,
Yeah.
and it's not what's happening to the
It's a
it's what's
domino
happening
effect because if those
it's
first timers
exactly.
can't buy,
Well, even
those upsizers can't sell.
I don't say take the stress test off of first time home buyer. I think the first time home buyer needs that level of protection. They've never
Sure.
done it before. But when you stress test the guy like me who,
It's stressed enough.
yeah, right? I wrote an article about stress this morning. Um, like I clearly
Mhm.
know how to
At
own a
this
house. I've
point.
owned a house for 20 years.
Mhm.
For you to stress test me when I'm going to go and sell that asset and go and buy another asset is absurd, right? You know, and again, it's like the first time home buyers or the foreign buyers ban. We want you to come to this country and work.
We don't want you to stay forever.
We want you to rent. We wanna make the people here, we wanna drive rent up so that the people who can't afford it the most, the low income earners, the demand for rentals goes through the roof because all these foreign people coming into the country. No offense to the foreign people, we
Yep.
need you,
Mhm.
but we now have pushed them into rentals.
Yeah,
And when
driven
we
the
push them
entire
into
rent
rentals,
market up.
you drove the rent market up because when you're getting $1,800, $1,900 a month for a two-bedroom apartment that 20 years ago I was paying $450 for a month, we've lost sight. So that's one thing. You got both those first time home buyer or the foreign buyers ban and the stress test. They both have to be revisited.
I also think people need to make the decision individually.
100%.
And I think there's sometimes too much focus put on all this external noise, all this external news, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And they go, shoot, maybe something might happen.
Yeah.
Whereas what you should be saying is, this decision makes sense for us
For
right
me
now.
right now in the
Yeah.
situation that I'm in. And I think that the third prong to this is that when you are in the housing market, make the decision to do it. There's so much inventory on the market right now that's overpriced because I'm not giving my house away. I can't tell you how many times I hear I'm giving my house away.
Mm,
If you think that somebody giving you a $500,000 for your house that you paid $300,000 for 3 years ago is giving it away, we really need to have a conversation about what giving it away is.
mhm.
But I just think that the government needs to get serious about how to fix the resale market. So the third prong to what my personal thing is everything that I keep seeing from this government in particular, the Liberal government. And actually, I shouldn't say that. The Doug Ford government as well in Ontario, and Ontario drives the housing market in this country. So let's make no bones about that. Is we are going to work with reducing HST, reducing the tax burden, reducing. But that only applies to new builds. And when you look at the numbers of new builds being built that are detached and semi-detached homes versus purpose-built apartments, um, you're kind of in this situation where, like I lost my train of thought. I can't believe I just lost my train of thought. Bring me back.
Oh my
I
goodness.
completely just lost my train
Um,
of thought. What was I?
you were going on
Oh,
about
21 episodes to lose my train of thought.
you were talking about the Liberal government, Ford government, they're driving
Oh,
housing,
HST, everything
HST,
is new build related.
yes.
There's got to be a way, and I listen. This is a tricky one because, it's when I own a house, it's private, right? Like what I do with it, but make it easier to buy and sell the house. Like you go to Toronto and
So
you got.
almost looking at tax implications and capital
Well,
gains
I mean,
and
cap gains doesn't really affect us right now because it doesn't happen until you're dead, right? Like you have cap gains on your house, but it gets charged on the last property that you own. I believe is the way it is. I'm not an accountant, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. But things like land transfer taxes, right? Land transfer tax is huge in Toronto.
huge. They have an extra tax.
They have two times,
Yeah.
right? When you think about it, they've got a municipal land transfer tax and the provincial land transfer tax. That could be $60,000, 70,000,
Yeah.
right?
Based on prices, it's insane.
And then the other challenge is development charges
Coming from the municipality.
coming from municipalities. All of these, and I'm not a proponent for higher property taxes, so don't everybody message me and yell at me. But when we build a new subdivision, it puts pressure on the water system, it puts
Mhm.
pressure on the fire department, it puts pressure on that. And all of that money from those DCs is used to do that. Well, if I'm a neighborhood here and there's a neighborhood here, and now all of a sudden we've got to put a fire department or fire station in the middle between those two neighborhoods because of the population growth, this group over here has the same benefit as this group over here, but this group over here just paid about $60,000 in Niagara for that right to have that. Now, again, there's infrastructure and all that stuff that has to go in and all of that, but I just think that the way DC's direct development charges are handled and managed in Ontario are not necessarily the great,
Conducive
yeah,
to
conducive to
growth and
growth. Like there's things that in this province the government could do to especially the provincial government could do to spur growth. Build the Mid Peninsula corridor, and you're probably not old enough to remember this, but
you brought it up yesterday, actually.
I did
Yeah.
because it is so important to Niagara's growth and to transportation across Ontario. I can't believe it's not been built. The Red Hill and the Lincoln
Mhm.
Alexander Parkway in Hamilton was a game changer for growth in Hamilton. Those two highways created so much growth on Hamilton Mountain. It's staggering. Like I can remember driving to Hamilton. That was where we would go and hang out because I lived in Grimsby.
Mhm.
The roads that I took aren't there anymore because they've been redone in their neighborhoods. Like that's how much it changed up there.
Interesting.
All the dead land is in Niagara, in Niagara's on the mountain, right? We've got enough corn that we can get rid of some corn. There's a clear defined route. Build the damn highway because
I don't think I've ever seen a plan for this.
it goes right in my parents' front yard. My parents are on the expropriation. They will be,
Really?
yeah, my parents will lose their house when it's built. And they're okay with that. So don't panic about that. But at the end of the day, that is, there's a clear path. It's and the last I checked, if I remember correctly, it was Netherby Road out through South Welland, picks up Victoria Avenue area, and then goes Highway 20 all the way straight through Binbrook and out to Hamilton.
Wow.
So it is a defined link, but that gets all the trucks off the highway on the bottom unless it's purposely going down there. It speeds up everything. It does so much. Get the damn GO train here. Get
Hmm.
the GO train into Welland. Like, put the GO train. It
Well,
does.
Welland is stuck in this
Oh,
weird.
Welland and Port Colborne get screwed in this peninsula all
Yeah,
the time, right? Welland is growing quickly. Port Colborne has the capability of growing quickly.
but there's no direct route.
No, you're going 406 to 140. Now,
Yeah,
those are fine, but
I know, but it's different.
yeah,
It's different.
the one thing that the region got right here is regional transit. Regional transit has been a game changer for people who don't drive. You can get on a bus now in Fort Erie and go all the way to basically Grimsby.
Hmm.
Um, and that's great. That's the way it should be. But there needs to be more integration. But it comes back to, we need more houses to grow the population here. We don't have, like there's not a ton of opportunities for growth without housing being built. I mean, Port Colborne's got the battery plant that's going. When we listened to the mayor yesterday, and I got a couple more of these meetings coming up that I'll update us with. But I got a meeting with the mayor, and all the industry that's coming into Port Colborne right now is mind-boggling that they have on the books because of the Seaway. Welland is going to have the same opportunity. Welland has got a great opportunity, to develop around that, the Walmart area,
Hmm.
because again, you've got the
A lot of
406.
dead space out there.
Lot of dead space out there, and they have taken advantage of it on the north end, and Thorold's taking
I always think
advantage of
that
it. So
west side of Welland, that northwest, closer to West Lincoln side, that's gonna be.
yes, yeah, I think that the 406 corridor is going to be the first thing to grow. But here's the thing: we've got a new hospital coming
Yeah.
in Niagara. What's going to happen around there? All you got to do is go back and look at when the St. Catharines General opened up in the west end of St. Catharines, and the development that was spurred around there. Is that the same thing going to happen in Niagara Falls? Does that then become an artery and a landing spot for residences and areas around it? I know that there's all sorts of parcels of land out there that the homeowners are just sitting on saying, "I'll sell this once the hotel's open or the hospital's
Yeah, the
open."
hospital's open.
Right. So, I
Yeah.
just think so. For me, I think that to answer your question, depending on what the government does, I think we're looking at a rough Q1. And I say rough. I mean, it's not. Listen, house prices are still up
Mhm.
significant from where they were 10 years ago. They're still there. Sales is slowly upticking. So I think that we're going to continue along that path. And I'm hopeful that, some sanity comes to what the world around us in the next 3 months. I think if everybody just takes a step back and realizes that the world is not like there's a lot of people out there that are concerned about what's going on
Deeply
in the
concerned,
world,
yeah.
deeply concerned about what's going on in the world, and justifiable. Like,
Sure.
like there's reason to be concerned, but I think the world
Sometimes
needs.
you gotta shut out that noise and just.
That's it. What is my situation today? Because no matter what happens down there, if I can get this rate and this house, and I know I'm good for 3 years, it doesn't matter what happens
Yeah,
around.
if it makes sense for you guys,
Yes.
that's what matters.
Yeah. So I think I'm hopeful that Q2 is the start of a slow rebound. I don't think it's going to be quick. I think it's going to be a very, very cautious rebound.
I
Um,
think we're gonna see pockets.
and we will see pockets. We're pockets in where it's happening,
Yeah.
pockets in who can afford
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and pockets of those who are interested in even doing it. Because there's a lot of people right now that just say, And one of those pockets, and I talked about this with the mayor yesterday, is senior citizens who don't want to leave their house anymore.
That's interesting.
Yeah. The amount of estates has, from what I'm seeing anyway, really increased in the last little while. And that's people who are just, they're not leaving those houses anymore. Right? They're not being sold under power of attorney. Well, mom and dad move into a home, or mom moves into a home. Mom's still in the home, passes away, and now the kids are, dealt with dealing with it. So it's one of those things. Nobody's got the crystal ball. That's what we're looking at and saying, okay, it makes sense. But the next 30 days will be telltale for that.
All right.
All right. Okay. Good session.
See you next time.
Peace.